hopefully you can see my screen. And right now we have about 15 people in this session. And as you see my screen, I'm going to go into my Nearpod lesson library. But I want you to notice at the top how I have different tabs. And that's how you're going to be also. And I'm going to tell you, okay, go to the Nearpod tab or go to this tab. And I'm going to guide you where to go. And I'm going to go into the Nearpod, but I want you to stay in the Meet. I'm going to go into Nearpod. I logged into Nearpod, and this is my lesson library. And the one we're going to be doing is called Bacteria and Viruses. And I pulled this down from the lesson library, and I added another assessment, time to climb, just for fun. That way we can take a look at the data and how it works. And so I'm going to click on, and we're going to do this as a live lesson. And I'm app mashing. I'm using Google Meet, and I'm going to use Nearpod at the same time. And what we're going to be doing is a live lesson. So when I click on live lesson, it's going to give me different ways that I can share that with you for you to join as if you were a student. And I could email this to you, and then you'd have to open up your email and then click the link. I can use social media. I can use the link, and that's what I'm going to use right now with Google Meet. But in just a moment, here I have Google Classroom. So if you're going to do this assessment with students, and you can go ahead and do Google Classroom and share it with your students. You also have Remind and Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to use the link. So when I click on link, I click on copy. And so it copied that link. And you should still be in the Meet side. And so when I go into the Meet, I'm going into the chat. And in the chat, I'm going to paste that link for you to click on. So I'm going to hit paste. And what you do, you're going to see it in the chat. You click on that link, and it's going to open up a new tab, and it's going to allow you to join the meeting, the Nearpod. And make sure, please, to put in your first and last name. So right now we have 17 people. So actually with my screen sharing, myself and Claudia, it's actually about 14. So as you're clicking that link, you're joining my Nearpod. And on the screen, you should see Bacteria and Viruses, mini video lesson. And the nice thing is, when I'm doing this live lesson and I'm app mashing with Google Meet, you still hear my voice. I still control the slides that you're going to. And when you're doing the assessment, you don't see each other. One thing, though, that I would recommend, if you're doing this with your students, don't share your screen. Just send the link and put it into the Google Meet. When they go into the Nearpod side, they see the different slides. Right now, we have 12 people in my Nearpod that I'm having you join. So there's a few more that needs to come in. And for those of you that already joined, go to the Meet site. I want to show you something. Now, what you see on the screen, you see the bacteria and viruses. Now, you're looking at this as if you were the teacher side. You're seeing it as me. And notice in the bottom left corner, the three little heads or the little bodies, and it shows 12. That means there's 12 people in this Nearpod lesson. When I click on it, it shows all the people that are in my session, all of you. I'm going to close that out. And notice that it's green. If it bounces to red, that's a warning that one of the students left, didn't just completely leave the Nearpod, but they clicked outside of Nearpod, went to the desktop. Maybe they go to a different website. Maybe they're doing a search on the answer. So it kind of gives you an idea. All right, so let's get started. And I wanted to start it with an assessment. It could have been an assessment in math on fractions. It could have been in high school under the American Revolution War. It could be many different types. And I just created one for fun, something that we all can work on and do and laugh a little bit. And so we're going to be doing an assessment. Even though it's in a gamified version, it's still an assessment. I'm going to still get the data from that assessment. And the game is called Time to Climb. So I'm going to go into the next slide, and it's going to start a gamified assessment. Can you imagine your kids taking an assessment and having fun with it in a game version where it's a little bit competitive? That has literally written all over it. Well, let's go into the next slide. And go to the meat side. I want you to see, before I get this going, what I see. And notice in the meat side, it says Time to Climb, where it says Randomize Answers. What that means is it changes the answer order, so that way, if you're in the classroom and you're doing this with your students in groups, that if Maria looks over Marco's shoulder to look at the answers, it's not going to work because they're different. So you could turn that on. Now, in a digital virtual classroom, it really doesn't matter because Maria can't look over the shoulder. So I'm not going to turn it on. Notice there's different themes that you can use. You have the Himalaya, which is kind of like out in the park climbing a hill. You have space. It's like on the moon going up a crater. And then you have the underwater, where you're going up an underwater mountain or hill. I'm going to go ahead and select underwater. So when I hit continue, and now what I want you to do is I want you to go to the Nearpod tab, and you're going to pick your character and then click on start. Then you're going to start joining this lesson. All right, Raul, thank you for joining. Hi, Anna. And so I'm starting to see everybody as they join this Time to Climb. Right now I have 8 people. I'm waiting on, we should have a 15 total. So make sure you go on the Nearpod side. If you're on the meat side, it's not going to work. Make sure you're on the Nearpod side. I have 5 more to go. I'm waiting on you. We have 16 now in our session. So we should have 16 people in. We're waiting on 5 people. Come on, go into the Nearpod side. Click on the character that you're going to pick. You get to pick your avatar, and then click on start. And then you're waiting on me right now. We're at 12, 13. Thank you, Deanna. We have 3 more. Go to the Nearpod side. Make sure you're on the Nearpod. If you're on the Google, on the meat side, it's not going to work. Make sure you're on the Nearpod side. Click on your character, on your avatar. Click on start, and now we're all waiting for you. We have a few more. All right, I'm going to get started real quick. Running out of time. All right, we're going to do an assessment. And it's a fun one, so don't worry. And this one is on 80s movies. So those of you that are movie buffs, we're right into your wheelhouse. Now, the way Time to Climb works, the one with the most points win. If I have 2 people that answer all right, They're going to get so many points, but the faster you answer the questions, the more points you get. So even if I have 2 people answering the same question and get the right answer, the one that does it faster gets more points. So I'm going to hit start, and it's 10 questions. And I want to say you have about 30 seconds to answer each. I'm still short one person. We're getting ready to start.
Larry.
Yes.
So the link is the one that you put in, right? Because somebody's asking for the link.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, let me put that link again.
Okay.
Yeah. No, good catch. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if we have anybody late, they might not see that link. There you go. I just added the link again.
Thank you, Larry.
Absolutely. Good catch, Claudia. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's take a moment longer while people join. So pick your avatar and then click on join. Awesome. All right, Ms. Garcia, thank you for joining. I showed 2 more that should be coming in. One more. We're still waiting on somebody. All right, let's get this started. So I'm going to click the start button. Remember, the way you get points is getting the right answer, and faster the better. So I'm going to hit start. All right, we're all in. The first question: which 80s movie was the highest grossing film of the decade of the 80s? Which 80s movie was the highest grossing film of the decade? All right, MJ's in first, Gabby's in second, Patricia's in third, Amelia's in fourth. Question number 2. Which 80s movie spawned 6 sequels and a TV series? Careful on this one. Which 80s movie spawned 6 sequels and a TV series? All right, Deanna is in first, Sean is in second, Jesse's in third, Patricia's in fourth. Question number 3. Movie quote: I'm serious and don't call me Shirley. Movie quote: I am serious and don't call me Shirley. All right, Jesse just jumped into first place. Deanna's in second. Sean is in third. Question number 4. Movie quote: snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? Patricia's in first. Jesse's in second. Kelly's in third. Deanna's in fourth. Question number 5. Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns. Deanna's back in first. Patricia's in second. Raul's in third. Question number 6. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Raul's in first, Deanna's in second, Patricia's in third, Kelly's in fourth, Jesse's in fifth, Sean's in sixth. Which 80s movie was the first to become a hit, largely due to MTV? Correct. Question 8. Carpe diem, boys. Seize the day. Make your lives extraordinary. Raul's in first. Deanna's in second. Patricia's in third. Kelly's in fourth. Jesse's in fifth. And Sean is in sixth place. We're on question number 9. Hello, my name is Ingo Montoya. You killed my father? Prepare to die. Deanna's in first. Raul's in second. Jesse's in third. Patricia's in fourth. Sean's in fifth. MJ's in sixth place. Question number 10. Last one. I could disappear forever, and it wouldn't make any difference. Deanna's in first, Raul's in second, Jesse's in third. Now let's see who's the biggest movie buff of them all. And the winner is Deanna Nava in first place. Raul Garcia got second, Jesse got third, Sean McGinnis got fourth, MJ got fifth, Patricia Mendoza got sixth, and Vanessa Promisi got seventh place. Now, this was an assessment. It was a quiz, and it was a fun one. The next what we're doing is a lesson is on the germs and all that, bacteria and viruses. And the essential question is, what are bacteria and viruses? And just keep in mind that as we work through this, it's going to keep track of all of our scores. So we can take a look and see what scores we have. What do we know? First, we'll see what we know or think we know about bacteria and viruses. Then we'll watch a video explaining bacteria and viruses and how they differ from one another. Now, I know we're using Nearpod as an assessment tool, but I wanted to use a sample lesson so that you can actually see it and how it's used. And here's the quiz. There's 4 questions to the quiz. It's multiple choice. We're making you think this morning. We're about 3/4 done. We're working, most of us working on the last question. We just got a couple more people put in that last question, that answer. You can do it. All right. So now we took the quiz. Now, in my reports, it's going to show the same between this quiz and that time to climb quiz. Now, the time to climb quiz was a gamified version. I could have made this into a time to climb. And in fact, the post exam is going to be the same one, but it's going to be after we watch the video. So I'm going to go into the next slide. And this is a video that we're going to be watching. And I want you to go on the meat side. I want you to see what I see. And this slide contains video. And I can push it so that way it only shows on this device. And that really works in a classroom when you're using a flat panel or projector and you have speakers set up and everybody watches it together. But in a virtual classroom, it might not work as well, because if my network speed slows down, it stutters for everybody and it can cause issues. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set it for all devices. So when I go into the slide and when you see it, you're going to click on the button to watch the video, and it's like you're watching it on your own. You're not watching it through my computer, and it's going to take away from any possible issues that we might have. So I'm going to hit all devices. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to your side and I want you to click on play. Now this video is 1 minute and 52 seconds. So we're going to go, it's 11:37. So we're going to go to 11:40. Make sure that you have enough time to watch it. So go ahead and hit play. All right, that should have given you enough time to watch the video. As a teacher, I kind of guesstimate about how much time. I always add about 30 seconds more just to make sure that you've had enough time to watch the entire video. And so now that we've done that, what did we learn? Now, the second quiz, so it was like a pre-exam and then a post. I wanted to see if this video really helped you. And so we're going to go in and it's going to be the same quiz, but I did it differently. This next time is going to be the same quiz, but in a time to climb to make it a little bit more gamey. Okay, are you ready? Let's go ahead and get this started. Oh no, I didn't do this one. I apologize. I thought I did turn it into a... All right, so go ahead. This is the regular quiz, but it could have been a time to climb. I am so sorry. I forgot to switch it out. Let's see if it's going to work better now, if we're going to answer, do a better job. All right from the get-go, it looks like it's helping. We're about halfway through. All right, I'm starting to see some hundreds over here. Good job. Wait just a moment longer. Wait on a couple of people. Almost there. All right, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and share your scores now. So when I click share, you can actually see how you've done. All right, good job, all. It looked like it did much better. We did much better after watching the video. I had a couple of surprises myself, actually. Now, in the next one, here's the time to climb version of it. So I converted it into that time to climb. Now, we're not going to do this one. Well, I'm just going to go and skip over it, but it's the same quiz as a time to climb. So basically, I should have skipped that other slide and then showed and went into this one. Now, here's an open-ended question. There's different ways to take formative assessments. And on this one, I'm doing an open-ended question. And this one is explain one piece of information from the video that you found particularly interesting and why. So what part of the video caught you by surprise? It's interesting. And why was it interesting? We have about 16% of us. Okay. All right. Go ahead and click the submit. We're going to go ahead and continue. Now, I know we've been working on this. We've taken a couple of assessments. We've worked on a few parts and everything else. But as the teacher, we want to see the data. We want to see how the students were doing. Did they understand it? Or was the lessons working? Maybe in different small groups, I had them do different types of assessments. So basically, this Nearpod is over. And thank you for going through the lesson. But now let's take a look at it as a teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and close out that Nearpod in this session. Are you sure? I'm going to put yes. And I want you to go into the Meet side on the tab. I want you to see my screen because we're going to go over now the reports. Now, when you go into the Meet side, you see my lesson library. And the lesson that we just did was bacteria and viruses. So when I hover over, notice the 3 dots right up here. So when I click on those 3 dots, it opens up. And notice how it has reports. And I know we just did it, so I'm hoping that the reports are ready. So I'm going to go ahead and click on reports. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but let's take a look. I'm going to hit reports. It's going to take a moment to load. And this is the lesson that I did. So when I click on it, notice I only have one session so far. I've only done this one time, and you're my first ones. If I'm a high school teacher and I do this lesson 4 times in the day, I'm going to see the 4 different lessons all the way down. And it shows me the time, so I know which one I did with what period. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the report, give it a moment to load, and here's the report. Now, the first thing that I see is I want you to think of it as a summary of everything as a whole. So when I scroll down, notice how I have the names, I have the quiz and the percentages. Now, look at the open-ended question. This one here, you got to be careful of, because that one is saying it's 100%, but that doesn't mean that you got 100% on the score. It's just that you did it. The participation shows that you did all the different parts, and so you got 100% because you completed every component. Now, if you want to dig deeper into the scores, notice how you have the different parts up here. When I click on quiz here, it has the 2 different quizzes. So let's take a look at the first time we did this. When I opened it up, instructionals, is showing the 4 questions. And the one that we really struggled on was question number 2. Both bacteria and viruses are considered living things. 5% of us got that right. The one that we really did well was bacteria are always bad for you. And we got 89% of that. And so what this shows me is, okay, this is where was our weakest area, was our strong in questions as a class as a whole. But if I want to drill it down by question, I want to see how everyone did on that question. And here we have the responses. All right. And so I can see the names and how many responded on it. Look at the number 2. That one we did really good on. Now, let's take a look at this one. Are they considered living things? We opened it up. And here, this is the one that we struggled. And so I can look by name. And you see how you're getting that information. Now, that was the pre. This is the pre-exam. This is the post-exam. So when I click on this one, here I have the different questions. And this one, look at that. We jumped on that video, really helped us. Now look at the different in the questions. I can drill down by each question again. Okay. Let's take a look at that open-ended question that we did. Now, if I click on open-ended question here, we only did one. So when I open that down, I see the name and I see the response. All right. So then there's another type of assessment that we have. Now, remember that time to climb that we did, the game one of the movies? Here is time to climb. And we didn't do the second one. We did the first one, if I remember right. So I'm going to go to the class board. And this will open up a web page. And the way this works, do you see where the question and overall data? This shows me how we did by each question as a class, kind of like when it was on the quiz side. I wanted to see how we did by each question. So when I open it up, it shows each question and what the percentage was correct. The movie that we really messed up on was which 80s movies was the first to become a hit, largely due to MTV. That's the one that was our weakest area, our weakest one. Our best one was which 80s movie was the highest grossing film of the decade. We got 72% of that one. So this is where we can take a look at as a class. Let's take a look at by student. So when I click on student, this is what shows, okay, 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10. And that's when you can start to see how they did as a score by student. And then when I want to drill down by question, I go down by each question, open it up, and I can see who answered what. All right. So that's how you take a look at the data. Now, I'm going to go back, and there's another way of seeing the data is by downloads. If I click on download, and I'm going to do the PDF. I click on it, and it'll download the data. I'm going to download it to my local drive. So it comes down in, and I open it up, and this is what I see. All right, and so it drills down, and I have it that way. It makes it a little bit easier to see for a lot of us, but I want you to take a look. And you see it breaks it down by name, and I can go through and I can analyze that data and see how my shows. Maybe I need to shift gears a little bit on this lesson and do it differently. Or maybe this is what I need to do next time. Or, oh, I aced this. This is going to work. And I continue doing it that way. And in going in to reports, there's another report that I really like. I go to downloads and the PDF student view. So when I click on PDF student view and I want to take a look, let's go ahead and I'm going to do them all, and I'm going to hit download. Local drive.
Larry, you have about 5 minutes.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Claudia.
You're welcome.
Gosh, that time goes by quick. I should have picked just one student, but I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And so you see how each one by name, I'm just going to pick one. If it's yours, I am so sorry. But here I have for each student. And think about it. What if I have that meeting and we talk, and that student and I were discussing, you know what? You're doing really good at this. You're doing really good at that. We need to work on this. And we can take a look at that data together. And this breaks it down to that student. All right, let me go ahead and close that. And creating Nearpods and assessments, if you want to do it right from scratch, let me show you how easy it is. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go into my Nearpod library. Oh, I went to the wrong one. Let me go into mine. And I'm going to create a lesson from scratch. I'm going to create a lesson in Nearpod. Test 1, and I'm going to click Add Slide. And there's different activities and assessments that you can build. The two most common is time to climb and quiz, but open-ended question can also be. So, and then you have matching pairs and a few others. But let me show you how easy it is. If I click on time to climb, it's going to open it up. I can put in my question here. If I'm a math teacher, I have a little link here to put in math symbols. Right here, I put my answer options. Whatever is the correct answer, I put a check mark on that. If I need to add more answers, I just hit Add Answer. If I want to add an image and a time to climb, I can hit Add Reference Image. So it allows me to put an image there, kind of like what I did with the movies kind of a thing. If I want to add more answers, again, I have more answers, but if I want to add a question, I can add a question. So you might build an assessment with 2, 3, 4, or 10, 15 questions. It really depends on what your goal is for that assessment. Notice up here the 30 seconds. That's how much time each student has in the question. I like doing the time to climbs for the pre-exam, kind of like it's a fun way to see what you know already. On the post-exam, I kind of like doing more of a formal exam. Now, I'm not going to put that one in. I'm going to hit cancel. And let's take a look at the regular quiz. It's very similar, but you have a couple more things that you can do. So I'm going to hit Add Slide. I'm going to go into Activity, Quiz, and notice this is the same. This is the same. I can add answers and add questions. This is what's different. Add media, video or audio instructions. So when I click on that, I could put an image. I could put a video. Maybe the students watch a short YouTube video and then they answer the question. I can open up a PDF viewer. I can put audio. As a teacher, this would be, let's say, an MP3 file that's on my device. But as a teacher, you see where it says audio recorder? I can click on that, and I can record myself reading the instructions and doing the answer choices. Think of the power of that. So I'm going to hit cancel. Whew, that was a lot of info very quickly. 45 minutes is a short period of time to go over this. We could have done this in a couple hours, but I got you started. Let me hit cancel. And now let's go back into, I'm going to go back to the meet side. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Oh, Jesse, you're right on that on the Terminator. But what I want you to realize is that the way we do assessments, we can think it differently. First off, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on using Nearpod as an assessment tool. Thank you for all you do. Y'all take care. The next session will start at 12:10.